So we are continuing our discussion. Marcel Kolaja is with us here in Brussels. Thank you for your presence.
Hello, thanks for the invitation.
As I discussed with Victor Negrescu before, it is important to see exactly what this European Parliament have made for the young people in the European Union. If you are drawing a line and look at this mandate, what is the most important thing that was done?
Well, the most important thing I would say is not maybe at first sight connected with young people, but I would still say this is the most important thing, just the fight against the climate change. Because it is the young people that will be impacted most by the climate change, because the changes we've been doing now, the support for the economic transition that helps fighting the climate change is what the next generation will actually benefit from, not too much this one, because it will take time for these changes to take effect.
Is the European Union hearing what the young people are telling? What are they requesting for?
I believe so. And also I need to say there is always room for improvement. But for instance, well, now in this election period, I'm traveling a lot across the Czech Republic. I believe that Romanian politicians are traveling across Romania and talk to people. I always enjoy talking to students, going to universities, to high schools, and talk to the students and try to understand how they see politics, what they feel is important in their lives, what we can do for them. But also during the mandate, I've been doing this, it's not just before the campaign, but in the campaign it's boosted. I've been doing this the whole mandate because I think it's very important. Also, there is something called the visitors group here in the European Parliament. And again, I am inviting a lot of young people to the European Parliament every year, as much as the Parliament allows me to do, so that they can go and see what's happening in the European Parliament, understand a bit more how the legislation process works, what European politics is about, and what we can do for them.
I know what, in general, what the young people in Romania think about the European Union and the trust they have. What is the situation in your country, in Czech Republic?
Well, I have some sort of a feeling that young people no longer understand what it was to live like in the communist era, you know, before the change of the regime, not even before the European Union, because many of them were born after we joined the European Union, and even if they were born before, only, let's say, a couple of years before that, it's still, you know, difficult to see in your own life what the change was if you were, you know, 5 years old, right? So that is something that I believe leads us to trying to explain what are the benefits for them and for the whole society of being in the European Union. Many of them, I think, really benefit from the Erasmus Plus program, from traveling across the Union and, you know, having a chance to study elsewhere, having a chance to be employed outside the Czech Republic, to take it from the Czech perspective. So I think they see it, they see how they benefit from this, but also at the same time they take it for granted, because they do not realize that if, let's say, the Eurosceptic forces win in the elections, this can all crumble and change in a second.
We've had an upgrade from Erasmus to Erasmus Plus. What is still to be done in terms of education for young citizens of the Europe?
So the recent change I would highlight is that we have added, and my political party, the Pirates, have supported it a lot. We have added a lot of money in the budget. So we have basically doubled it in this current term. And we still support adding more money into that budget, because education for the young generation is our future. Because well-educated people will also be able to do better informed decisions. Also, we are all in favor of extending this program to teachers, to people who work with youth, etc. So these are, the changes that have happened and also are on the table, because I think we should do more in this regard.
In terms of diplomas, internships, we've seen some changes made here at the European level, and I think it's important. Let me ask you directly, what are the young people asking for exactly?
Well, I believe, as I said in the beginning, what young people want is that they are free to travel and study elsewhere, right? So there are, definitely interested in having the barrier to be able to do that as low as possible. The pandemics, for instance, this is an interesting maybe anecdote, that the pandemic has also transformed a bit how the universities work, because they were forced to
go online,
to go online, but also manage the exams online.
Exactly.
And I think that it's a huge benefit for a Romanian student to take an exam to a university in Paris online, because they don't have to travel, which is expensive. And this is extremely important, especially for those who come from families that are not rich. And I think that everyone should have the equal level of affordability of education. And this is a good thing. On the other hand, we also have to see the risks. And this is something I worked on in the parliament, because it is the artificial intelligence that then, looks at through your camera and through your microphone when you're doing the exam, and evaluates whether you're cheating during the exam. And if that artificial intelligence doesn't work right, is not well trained, for instance, then you can be discriminated, because the artificial intelligence says, well, you were cheating, but it didn't have to be the case, because, for instance, you live in a room with your siblings and they were discussing something in the background, and the AI, the artificial intelligence, assumed that you are talking to someone, and then, takes you out of the exam. Now, what I have worked on is on the rules for artificial intelligence, so that such systems are in so-called high risk category, which means that such discrimination should not happen in the future anymore, because there are more strict rules when it comes to the training data and making sure that there is no discrimination in that sense.
From this perspective, the European Parliament and the European Union in general was a first mover. You were the first ones who have put this subject on the table, artificial intelligence, to disseminate it and understand what's to be put in there in terms of legislation. And we are seeing now some rules that will be applied in the member states. And maybe for the young people, this is the biggest help, but also the biggest danger at artificial intelligence.
Well, I would not put artificial intelligence as a danger. I think we should still look at it as an opportunity. However, I mean, we don't want to lead the way to a technology dystopia. And if technology is used in a wrong way... Exactly,
if we don't have the rules, it will be used in the wrong way.
Then it can be really a very dystopic future. And therefore, I truly believe we need rules. I need to say, I am not completely on board with the rules as they have landed.
It's a beginning.
Because I wanted more protection, for instance, against surveillance in public spaces, and a ban on facial recognition so that it cannot be abused, which is, the text basically legalizes that rather than banning it. But in general, we definitely need rules, yes.
If we are looking now at the future, the next mandate of this parliament what is to be put on the table, in your opinion, first in terms of education and young people? What's to be done for them more?
Yes. So I already spoke about Erasmus+, and I already said more money is needed in the budget. We are on the right track, but we still need to increase the amount of money in that budget, and we need to increase it so that more, like teachers, for instance, can travel, because they can also learn more about how students are being educated abroad. Then also, the young generation works a lot with digital technologies and with the internet. And we have this principle of the single market in the European Union on one hand. On the other hand, we still have something that is called geo-blocking, which means that people in different countries have access to different set of content. And for instance, in Greece, there is only 2% of the EU content accessible, to Greek people. And there are different numbers. In Germany, for instance, it's a lot more. And I don't see a reason why Romanian people should be discriminated in such a way that they do not have access to content that, for instance, German people have. And as I said, for young people, being on the internet, using digital technologies is really important. Also, I think we need to do more when it comes to cross-border recognition of same-sex parenting. We have supported it here in the Parliament, but still it's not there. So this is the case for the next mandate to make that happen. It's now blocked by the national governments. Also, when it comes to addictive design of social networks, we have only started the work so that, when you have apps like Instagram, that they should not abuse addictive designs so that, people scroll endlessly, and then they figure out 3 hours later that, oh, I have, just spent such a long time there. This is really a problem. We know, we have data that issues with mental health that young people increasingly have is also connected with the wrong use of digital technology. So we need to get rid of these addictive designs, and still we have a long way. And then I would say enlargement, the enlargement process in general. The bigger union, the stronger union, and therefore we also need to work on this so that the next generation lives in a much stronger and geopolitically stronger European Union.
Thank you for this discussion.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Vouă celor de acasă vă spun să rămâneți pe Antena 3 CNN. Nu uitați că ne revedem și sâmbătă viitoare la 9:30. Cu bine și sănătoși să fim!